Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where you're listening to us from and watching us from. Who will be the next royal or celeb to fall? Isn't that the question? Will it be from Britain or America? Who will it be? I think that they're going to have to throw someone away in America at least. Other than just Maxwell, they're going to have to get somebody new, whether that's going to be Les Wexner from Victoria's Secret or someone else remains to be seen. But it's anybody's guess, Certainly not going to be anyone too powerful. Duchess of Pork is the next domino to fall. Yeah. We're going to be getting into it this evening with about Andrew's arrest. As many of you watching and listening will probably have seen on the news, it's been headline news everywhere about the former Prince Andrew being arrested and taken in for questioning by Thames Valley Police. So, let's get to the details of it all then. He was arrested yesterday, Thursday, the 19th of February, 2026, and it was his 66th birthday. So that was a pretty decent birthday present he got there. A trip to the police station and a trip in the cells. I can't imagine it ranks up there with some of the gifts he's gotten in the past, some of the gifts he's gotten from Epstein and others, but who knows? He was charged with... he wasn't charged. He was interviewed in relation to allegations of misconduct in public office. And misconduct in public office is basically you're taking bribes. Hi, Amy, glad you could join us. You're taking bribes or you're giving away classified information. Or you're usually giving away classified information in exchange for bribes. And this is what Andrew was doing. He was taking confidential financial information that he had access to by being the UK's trade envoy, which was basically meant that he would represent Britain on a global stage in regards to industry and commerce. So representing the British government in business deals all over the world, usually in countries with a monarchy, because, in those countries like in the Middle East, someone like Andrew, who was a prince, would hold more sway than even a prime minister would in that society. So they used him for that purpose. But as I've previously discussed, he wasn't very good at this. He made a remark to the Saudis that when Britain was trying to sell them fighter jets, Andrew said, well, you can just lease them, it's cheaper to lease them and you don't have to buy them. When his role is the only reason he was supposed to be there in the first place was to sell these fighter jets to the Saudis and as trade envoy, his role was to sell British industry and products and innovation in business and manufacturing that was going on in Britain for firms that were either government-ran firms or firms that had close ties with the government. Aisha, yeah, I'll drop in the link for you and Amy or anyone else who wants to come up right now. But yeah, we're talking about Andrew, and as I was saying, he was giving away confidential information as regards to finances to Epstein. So things to do with inside market information that that Andrew would have known about in advance to it becoming public. So the same type of stuff that Peter Mandelson, who we talked about previously, was doing, and it seems like he'll probably be interviewed at some point. That's what Andrew was. He was interviewed under caution. He wasn't charged. He hasn't been charged yet, but it seems like he probably will be charged. And he was taken to Aylsham police station, which is quite a way away from where he was staying on Wood Farm in Sandringham, but about 60 miles or more, maybe. And that's quite a distance to go for an interview for the police. Usually you do it locally, but like I said, he probably is where that is in Sandringham is pretty rural, so it's probably the nearest place that would have been suitable for him, and not just some countryside little police station. Wouldn't have been suitable to. It wouldn't. Those places don't have custody suites. You know what I mean? So they need that for to be able to take him in and interview him, type of thing. So, like I said, he's not been formally charged, but he was interviewed under caution, and he was in there for 11 hours. So it wasn't some brief little thing. Do you think the king had anything to do? Sorry. Do you think the king had anything to do with his arrest after seeing what the files had? I think indirectly, yes, because of him stripping Andrew of his titles. It would mean that it would be more likely that the police would want to go after him. By criminal charges and interviewing him and pursuing him in that sense. Whereas when he had his title of prince, it seems like they, with all the Virginia Giuffre stuff, they didn't want to act on it because of his status. So by the king removing that from Andrew, he ushered in the way for him to do that. But I think it can be considered treasonous, but he's just not going to get that charge. He just won't. If he is charged formally, it will be for misconduct in public office. But I could see why people think that or would have those feelings. But I think that the king did that out of necessity. And I also think that the king was told and thought, Charles thought that by just taking away his titles, it would be the end of it. But it clearly isn't, you know what I mean? And I think Charles always disliked Andrew. He's been jealous of the Falkland adulation. I agree that Charles never liked him, and not just because of the Falkland stuff. It goes back further than that. It's to do with their childhoods as well, and the fact that Charles never fucking got any attention from the Queen or the old Duke of the old Queen or the old Duke of Edinburgh. Because they were always away when he was a young kid, and he was always raised by nannies. But with Andrew, the Queen took more time with him and actually was there a lot more present in his earlier life. So I think Charles resented him for that. So yeah, Charles, there's no love lost there between them two, certainly. And Harry and Will don't seem to really like Andrew at all. It's not like this situation where he's the cool uncle who lets them drink and smoke weed, back when they were younger. It's they fucking hate him. Like, it seems like the whole family doesn't really like him, because more so than the fact that he's bringing them all into disrepute, and it's the most it's actually very sad. It is it's the first time in a long time there's been serious conversation about ending the monarchy. So all of them are like really pissed off about the fact that Andrew spoiled it for the rest of them. And they really hate him for that. But also I think that most of them disliked him before all this. I don't think he is someone who is widely disliked, who is widely liked, should I say, by people. Yeah. I bet he tried to be that, but I think it probably came across as pretty weird to them. But yeah, he's been released under investigation. So the police raided Wood Farm, which is where a small farmhouse which he's been staying on in the Sandringham estate, which is a royal-owned estate, and they raided and seized documents while she was in custody, and they, as he's still under investigation, they could still go back there and seize more documents, or like bring him in again for more questioning. And he was actually lobbied by Peter Mandelson, who I mentioned before, who was also been caught in the crossfire and basically is being investigated for the same shit, for misconduct in public office, for leaking sensitive financial information from government to Epstein, so that Epstein could fiddle the markets and give people the heads up before the information went public and make money. You know what I mean? So him and Mandelson are both tied together in this, and it was Mandelson who actually lobbied the government, then Prime Minister Tony Blair, to actually give Andrew the appointment of UK trade envoy. So it stinks of Andrew, Peter Mandelson, and Jeffrey Epstein partying together, and then Epstein saying to Mandelson, "Do you know what would be really cool if Andrew was trade envoy, or you made up some cool position for him, because he can get things done." And that's Epstein's way of having people everywhere and having as many people, positioning as many people in influential positions for him, not only to go to bat for him if he was ever exposed, but also to give him confidential government information that he could benefit from financially and his clients could benefit from financially. And that kind of access is priceless, and it seems like Andrew and Mandelson really sold themselves short, and they could have probably asked for a lot more from Epstein. I know that Andrew's payment was in young women and girls, but Mandelson's was in small amounts of money, hilariously small amounts of money. So yeah, that's the situation there, and it seems to be getting worse and worse for him as time goes on. And I think the sights of seeing the police at plainclothes, unmarked police at Sandringham raiding Wood Farm is a sign of how far we've come and how much times have changed. You would never imagine that a member of the royal family, even after losing their titles, would be subject to not really a dawn raid, a raid at 8 p.m. in the morning, 8 a.m. should I say, 8 a.m. in the morning, should I say, and it doesn't, it beggars belief, you know what I mean? It's something that I don't think I could have ever imagined, or anyone in the world could have ever imagined, that these people would actually finally be held accountable to some degree for the shit that they pull. And it's a start, and we've got a long road, but at least it's a start. Did you think his title was pity from the Queen exiting the Navy? Yes, I do. I think, well, he was always going to get one by the fact of who he was, the fact that he was a son. But yeah, I think it was given then to elevate him, and the trade envoy thing was something that the Queen did pressure Blair to give him, as well as Mandelson, to give him to like you say, Amy, to occupy him when he got outside of the Navy, because I think that the Queen, in her own position, was worried about what he'd get up to if he didn't have something to do. And ironically, giving him that position meant that it was enabling him to be even worse. That's great. I'll put the link back into the chat again for you if you can. Yeah, like it enabled him that trade envoy role to go to the Middle East, to and witnesses of diplomats and people from various foreign embassies who are sent to kind of look after him. Various British diplomats, to show him around places, would say, like, he'd be told by secretaries, "Oh, he likes blondes," and then the diplomats would be like, "I'm a diplomat. I'm not a pimp." So like the expectation was that like he was always going to be supplied with women, with girls, whatever, wherever he went, as well as transsexuals. That's been written that he went with transsexuals when he was in Thailand as well. So he seems to get up to all sorts, Andrew. It seems like there's no one he won't try it on with, seemingly. That just points to his no barriers, no boundaries, whatever. All and it's pretty crazy having all this stuff right out in the open about people that are held on such a pedestal. Oh my God, I was just watching something about Thailand and HIV speculation. Yeah, I think he was worried about that when he went there. And it's been said that he was having parties with like transsexual escorts going in and out of the place, of the penthouse that he was staying at, all throughout the night. And although Andrew says he doesn't drink, he's never denied taking drugs, and that's not something I can say for certain. But it's been said that he was doing coke when this was going on by people who were there or who were close to him. And this ain't me saying that. Or sweat, exactly. But apparently he was sweating in the police station, according to eyewitnesses. Apparently the cell that he was kept in was pretty sweaty when he walked out the door. But yeah, it is a moment in history that I don't think we're ever going to kind of be able to say anything like it ever before. Hopefully again, but hopefully it means more accountability for people. Honestly, apparently he was sweating like a hooker in church when he was swatted. Yes, he really was. People speculate that they had a heads up, but I really don't think that they did. I think that like even palace sources or the king or whatever, like apparently even they didn't know, because their arrangements were. They had arrangements going ahead the day of, and you'd expect them, if they thought, hey, we're going to get this level of potential, questions from the press, for this press scrutiny, that they wouldn't be going about their business. But his hi, Cher, glad you could join us.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm all right. On the tail end of that sickness I had for like 2 weeks. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. I'm glad you could join us. I'm happy that Andrew was arrested.
Yes and no.
Why no?
Well, because it wasn't anything that everyone thinks it's tied to Epstein, but his arrest had nothing to do with Epstein. And then to find out that prosecutions told the police not to even arrest him because they don't even have any charges for him yet, or enough evidence to bring whatever charges may or may not happen. So you already know, I feel like it's going to be covered up or whatever.
Well, you're right. You're fair to say that, and I understand that perspective, and it's partly true what you're saying. Like, he isn't being charged with stuff to do with what Virginia Giuffre has alleged or what he got up to on Epstein Island or whatever, but he is being charged with passing Epstein confidential government information in regards to finance. So this is a white collar thing, but it's a start, and hopefully. You know what I mean? I do think, there may be, you're right in thinking, there may be a cover up, but I genuinely think the establishment, everyone involved, are very happy to have him be the head, be the sacrificial lamb, because he's an idiot.
Yeah, for sure. But that's another reason why I think they're going to also help cover it up, because if he goes down, does Charles go down? I mean, Epstein's pictured walking all around with little William and Harry when they were kids too.
It's fucked up.
So I have the pictures. So everyone knew who this man was. King Charles's best friend and media advisor was Jimmy Salve.
That's true. And Jimmy Savile was a lot of Americans and Canadians call him Jimmy Savile because that's how he's pronounced it. But it's Savile. He was. It's actually ironic you mentioned that. Like I said, he was very close with the King Charles, and he was like a close advisor to Charles,
so
as well
he's
as
had
being
him around his family, and he's had Epstein around his family. So it's not just Andrew who's hung around Epstein.
That's true. Epstein was known to Charles, and Savile was also known to Andrew. They all knew each other.
Like the palace didn't know that Andrew had code words to have helpers around the palace sneak children in. That there was code words for sneaking children in.
Oh yeah, I should have said. I should put that clip on. It's where Jimmy Savile's talking in an interview. Where he talks about a time he was in Buckingham Palace, and Jimmy Savile, like everyone knows, he was like a paedophile, probably one of Britain's worst paedophiles. He was a kids entertainer, a DJ, but did a lot of charity stuff, and that's the official reason as to why he was friendly with the royal family, because they are big into running charities to dodge taxes and shit like that and hide their earnings. So he and also improve their public image. So they knew each other, and Jimmy Savile was talking in this TV show, talk show about like, oh yeah, should I tell you about a time I went to Buckingham Palace? And he's like, I saw a man and a woman, and they were like, oh, our daughter's in the car, and we just left her there so she could say she was been in the palace courtyard. And he was like, oh no, leave it to me, I'll go and get her. And obviously, knowing Jimmy Savile, like the story's like being coaxed in a way that it seems innocent, but it fucking isn't. It's never innocent with the way he was and the way he told stories. He was like that. He'd paint things as being innocent when they were sinister, and he'd get off at recording things when he knew what he'd done in those situations. He went out he went out in the courtyard, got the girl, and like was welcomed in. The doors open to Buckingham Palace without any security checks, which is fucking bizarre. And everyone goes, "Oh, you're always security checked. Not if you're friendly with them. Not if you're one of Andrew's call girls, and not if you're Jimmy Savile, and not if you're, it would be dangerous for them to say, oh yeah, he's been here." But anyway, Savile was like, I went to the then Duke of Edinburgh, who was dead now, who was the Queen's husband, the old Queen, about saying, "Oh, I've got a kid here," and gave him a prearranged signal. And that's what the guy said on the interview. So it does give some kind of weird symbolism vibes right there, where it's like, this isn't new. None of this is new. Like I was saying to you earlier, Sharon, Messenger. This shit's been going on for thousands of years, and the saddest thing is the royal family, and like many other powerful families, New World Order or Illuminati families, whatever you want to call them, bloodline people. They've been at this, for all time, and it's the first time in 400 years that a member of the British royal family has been arrested.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
And think of all the shit that they've done.
Oh, well, yeah, it goes, I mean, if you think about it all the way back through history, it's always been built off of marrying 12 and 13-year-old girls off to 40, 50-year-old men and shit, all over property and status and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's people look at it with rose tinted glasses, like they see the pageantry, but they don't see the fucking the warped shit behind closed doors, and how freaky and messed up these people are, and how they're not like us in any way because they don't have emotions. And like these are the people running the world. These are the people with all the power and the influence. People who are
comment that it's heartbreaking. She was pimping out her own daughters. And that's to my point too. It's not just Andrew. It's many, many. That's why I think they killed Diana off. Honestly, she knew too much.
Oh fuck yeah! fuck yeah. She knew way too much, and she would have talked more than she'd already had,
Yeah,
and it would have just
she
gotten
was
worse and worse.
loose lips in the eyes of the monarchy. They did not like her talking or getting the attention.
Exactly, she was too public spirited and she was too human for them, and that's been said many times. She was way too human for them, and that's a testament to what they are. You know, they're fucking messed up. You think they legit murdered? I think
Yeah,
MI5
I
or
thought that.
MI6
Yeah,
did. Yeah, I don't think that obviously and I don't think Charles was the one who spearheaded that. I think that it was people who were close uh, to the royals, to the monarchs, and advisors type people. And these grey-haired people are the people who really call the shots in behind the royal family. Like, they have the illusion of power. They're protected when they do shit like SA and child sacrifices and God knows what else.
yeah.
They're protected, but the people who kind of influence what they say and do and how they appear publicly are the people who are kind of pulling the strings behind the British government. These are people who are the Freemason types, MI5, MI6,
Didn't the
banker
queen make a
types.
remark and say they must have greased the wheels? Isn't she
Yes,
on camera saying that?
people say it was a hot mic and they debate it, but I'm pretty certain she
I
did.
know I heard it, and she says must have greased the brakes. That's what she said.
But yeah, I do legitimately think that is the case, and it's actually something about not people a lot of people know. Do you know that Andrew was dating Diana before she got with Charles?
Say what? Well, so was Meghan Markle, no?
That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's
And
how it goes. That's why we see those emails with Fergie and her daughters. Do we really think
yeah,
those are the only two?
I wanted to
Like,
get onto that. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, and thank you, Amy, for mentioning it as well in
yeah.
chat. It's yeah, see about Beatrice and Eugenie. Yeah, I mentioned it on the last live I did about them, where it's been leaked that Sarah was talking about. I think it was Eugenie's shagging weekend or whatever, which obviously everyone knows means sex. But imagine like that, having your fucking mother talking about you like that to a paedophile, a convicted paedophile, and then also bringing them both to
But like,
see him
how
for a
did her
party.
mom know she was on a whatever weekend, a sex weekend or whatever story, however she worded it? Like, it makes me feel like Fergie set that weekend up as well.
Very possible. It's very likely, and like I said, like she brought Beatrice and Eugenie when they were like 18, 19, early 20s.
Yeah,
Uh,
after his first round of charges for sexual
After
assault.
he'd just gotten off house arrest, so like he'd just been that had just been over and done with him. Like within like days, they were there with him and hanging out, and it's insane. I said it on my last live. Like, what kind of mother would do that? And not just a mother, but like a woman who was married to like the guy who was like eighth in line for the throne, or even less, even more closer to the throne back then when she married him. He was like what, third or fourth. I don't think even less. I think like second or third. Yeah, uh, when they got married. But yeah, it is crazy. It's some crazy shit. All right, Cher will be back. She's just got to deal with shit. She's working while she's dealing with us and helping us on the show and coming on, sharing her insights. So she's multitasking. So I'm really appreciative of her for doing that. That's right. Marco was in bed with Andrew before the prince. No worries, Cher. Take your time. It doesn't. It's apparently that caused a physical fight between Andrew and and Will. Will. Harry. No, yeah, Meghan and Harry. Because Andrew made some comment about being with her before, and Andrew was spotted. This was a few years ago, having it with a black eye. So it's been rumored that Will, William and Kate and Harry. No, Harry punched him. I always get them two confused. Harry punched him after he made a comment about banging Meghan before he did, which is, fairly typical of that guy to make such a comment to his nephew, of all people. And Prince William has said that he's happy with the hard line that the palace has taken, and hopes that it will mean that it can preserve the monarchy. And he thinks that it will, by showing themselves to have changed and, dismissed Andrew and not protect him and, let him be the sacrificial lamb, that it will strengthen support for the monarchy, and it will mean his position when he becomes king will be easier to deal with. But personally, I think that he's just beating a dead horse, and that he's just delaying the inevitable. When he does become king, it will be in an even more reduced form than his father. It will be in a lot lesser form, and they'll have a lot less influence over Britain and the world. They'll be more like the Dutch royal family by then, and that's the beginning of the end for them. They don't. The Dutch royal family pay taxes. The Dutch royal family are just kind of there in status. They don't have any kind of. They're not above the law in any way. They don't get special privileges like the British royals do. So, and I think that's the next destination for them, and it's the only destination for them. If they want to keep their titles, the other alternative is that total republic, and that they don't have any titles. They just become equal to everybody else in terms of stature, and that's it. And I would rather the latter, to be honest with you. I'd rather they lost all their titles altogether, and there was no kind of monarchy. The properties that they own in their own right they can keep, and the properties that are paid for by the public, the taxpayer, should go into the hands of the taxpayer. And that's the way I think it should be done. I think the monarchy should end, and it should be a gradual end. I don't think it can be something that can just happen overnight, but I would like to see a gradual end of it. And I would like it to have happened overnight, but I'm a realist and I know that it won't. But I hope that the course that it takes of getting smaller and smaller is a quick process, because it's an institution that's so archaic, and it's obviously clearly enabled a guy like Andrew to get away with some of the worst crimes imaginable, and not even worry about being held accountable for it. And as long as you have institutions like that, there's going to be more Prince Andrews or former Prince Andrews. So people are going to abuse the hell out of it unless everyone's put on an even pedestal. And not even in monarchies. You go all over the world. You look at America. You look at everywhere else. You see that even though there aren't monarchies, there's still people who are above the law in every country and in every society, and that status, that abuse of privilege is dire, and it just has led to the degradation and erosion of the world and of the moral fiber of the world. And we're only as good as the people directing us are, and we've been put down some really fucked up directions by the world leaders and world influencers. And she never knew anything about the royal family, my ass. Yeah. No worries, Amy. Take your time. I understand. Yeah, it's like yeah, sure. It's it's like when Yoko said that she'd never heard of the Beatles when she first met John Lennon. It's like, yeah, yeah, it's some funny shit, that, Yoko. Yeah, and the princesses and Sarah Ferguson, Andrew's ex-wife, are probably going to be questioned in relation to this allegations of misconduct in public office. And Beatrice and Eugenie, as far as I know, are out of the country at the moment. I know Eugenie is skiing in Sweden. I don't know where Beatrice is. I think she might be in Italy with her husband's family, or somewhere like that. I know they have property in Italy. So they're both out the country, which I think has been something that they've done. They've been out the country for a while. I think in the hopes of the press attention and about their dad Andrew dying down, and it's only gone and blown up and gotten 1,000 times worse for them. So I predict that they'll probably stay out the country for quite a while longer, unless obviously a call goes out from Thames Valley Police, which is the police service that is currently investigating Andrew, that they need to speak to them. I think that they'd hurry back then. They don't. They Beatrice and Eugenie are trying desperately to save their public face, because they want to carry on with the work that they do, the charity work, the advocacy work, and obviously reaping the benefits of being princesses as well. And they have a chance to actually do that. There's nothing damning there about them. They were, all that I see from them is that they had two fucked up parents, and it's a miracle that they're as I guess functional as they actually are. They're both married. I'm pretty sure Eugenie has a kid or kids. I could be wrong. Beatrice doesn't yet. But yeah, they seem pretty well adjusted, to be honest with you. I don't have anything negative to say about the princesses. I feel bad for them, for how messed up their parents were. I couldn't imagine having, parents like that. I mean, I don't have the best relationship with mine, but God, I'd much prefer the ones I've got than having Fergie and bloody Prince Andrew as a parent. Former Prince Andrew, bloody hell. Talk about a nightmare. And Virginia's family, Virginia Giuffre's family, who accused Andrew of being an abuser. Virginia's family has described it as a win for all survivors, and I agree with them. It's a sign that, obviously he's not being charged with sex offences as of yet, or being investigated for sex offences as of yet, but that could change, and I think it will. Like I was saying earlier, I think that Andrew is going to be the sacrificial lamb. In some respects, that they're going to say, right, he can go to prison, and by him being an ex-royal, that'll send a message that we are going to do something about it, in order to quell discontent. All the people who did abuses on that island, or who did abuses with Epstein, are not going to be put on trial, are not going to be charged, are not going to be investigated. Only a very small number of people who are dispensable in the eyes of the people behind the scenes, and Andrew is dispensable to them. So it is a shame that he hasn't been charged with stuff related to Virginia Giuffre's accusations yet, but I hold out hope that he will. And I think at least it's a start. It's a start, and it sends a message all over the world that the days where everybody is protected no matter what are over, and that the public will not tolerate it anymore, and that the system is so desperate to preserve itself and quell discontent that it will allow more people to face accountability, and we've got to get it to a point where the system is so overwhelmed and weak that everyone has to face accountability, that the people behind the scenes who are pulling the strings are so weak that everyone is held on the same standard. And I think if we keep doing that and keep putting the pressure by asking questions of the royals in public, by asking questions of Parliament, by showing our discontent on social media about our leaders, about the lack of accountability, the more they have to do, the more they have to address it. It's not going to go away like they want it to. And I think in many respects, Keir Starmer is happy that the UK Prime Minister is happy that this is taking the news in respects to Andrew again, because it takes the attention off him. Keir Starmer appointing Peter Mandelson as his ambassador to the United States when he knew Mandelson had ties to Epstein, and that's something that I think Keir Starmer is very happy about, and the fact as well that they've got elections coming up in the UK, local elections. So for Americans, that would be basically like the type of elections that are going to be happening are Britain's equivalent of Senate elections. So like there'll be like the Northern Ireland Assembly election, I think, is happening. It might not be. Scottish and Welsh Assembly elections are happening. And they're like senates for Scotland and Wales, devolved parliaments type of thing. And also local town councils are having elections. So Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, is very happy that attention has been shifted from his fuck-ups in hiring a guy close to Epstein and have been put back onto Andrew as they were. And currently the UK government is trying to pass a law to remove Andrew from the line of succession, so he wouldn't be in line for the throne anymore. And that would be a very, very, unique thing, where Parliament's taking that level of authority over the crown and over the monarchy and the way the monarch works. I think that would be a good sign of Parliament showing its power, its true power, and not just bowing its head to the monarch and placating it. I think it's a good sign. But I do think that all of this is performative. I think Keir Starmer and all the other politicians in the UK and many of them in the US are not in this for the right reasons, are jumping on this to use as a vehicle to get elected, and they're not actually serious about addressing the issue. Like Keir Starmer, if he genuinely did care about women and exploitation and accountability, he wouldn't have put Peter Mandelson as ambassador for the US. And in America, you've got Trump expressing concern and sympathy and all that, but at the same time saying to Marjorie Taylor Greene that releasing everything unredacted would hurt some of his friends. So it says a lot about people's real motives, and it's a lot of people are not in this for the right reasons, it appears. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey are certainly in it for the right reasons. And people in the UK Parliament, some of them are actually putting pressure on the system and criticising the monarch for the right reasons. They're not trying to just win votes. These are people who have always had grievances against the monarch, and it's good to have it laid bare so that everyone can see, that it is legitimate to question them. It is okay to wonder, like, what would life be like without them. But I'm glad for everyone who's stuck with me throughout this live and the duration of it. I'm I'm glad that I've had no technical hiccups as well, like I was experiencing last night. Constant technical glitches when I was doing my live on Epstein related stuff, and I think that's what really did it, though. I think it was the MK Ultra Epstein stuff that got me censored last night. But thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to carry on for another 13 minutes, I suppose, and then I'll get off. And after my live, you've got an hour break, and then Amber ATS News will be live with Nancy Guthrie updates and coverage. So everyone who's watching, I recommend going and check out Amber ATS News. Really good channel, true crime channel. Great mod of mine, a big supporter and promoter of the channel. And if Cher's still in here, you should certainly check out Cher's channel, Voices Behind the Wall, and also Amy Boston Unsolved. These are all great true crime channels. Well, I'm absolutely astounded that they even arrested him, to be honest with you. You know, you'd assume that I would predict it from all the stuff that's coming out, but I really didn't. I didn't think that they would go as far as to arrest him, detain him, you know, for questioning him, and you know, released under caution type of thing. I didn't think it would ever happen. I didn't think I'd see the day where these people, that family, would actually be held accountable for something. You know, because I think people's perceptions of the royal family have always been really skewed, and I think now people are finally seeing them for what they are. Hey, sorry I'm late. I was making dinner. Oh, no worries, Amber. You've got mothering and wife duties to attend to, so that's always got to come first. The family stuff. What is for dinner? I would love to know. I had pizza and potato waffles. I know they're not really a popular thing in America, but they're pretty popular in Europe to have potato waffles. They're good. Very, very savory, carb on carb. Pasta carbonara. Very nice. Yeah. Italian food is very much my favorite, you know. To go off topic a little bit, but I think it's nice to balance things out. Italian food is my favorite. I could happily eat Italian food every day for the rest of my life and not have to go on through any other. We have pasta a few times a week. It's cheap. I agree. I agree. It's cheap and it's easy to make, and I like making bolognese from scratch. I really enjoy it. I always make sure to put my onions in there that I grow myself at home in the garden. So yeah, it's a really good thing to do to cook. So yeah, I'm just kind of doing some small talk, but I would love to hear what you think, Amber, about the arrest of Andrew and the impact that's had, and any thoughts related to that, anything you've seen. And I also, before you turned up in chat, I was also promoting your live, which you'll be doing in about an hour, talking about the Nancy Guthrie update. So I'm very excited to catch that, and I'll certainly be there in chat. If not for all of it, certainly for a lot of it. But I am very tired, and I have rugby duties to attend to in the morning. So yeah, I'm gonna get to sleep extra early, and hope you'll forgive me for that. Glad you're here, though. But yeah, the government's drafting laws to remove him from the line of succession. I really think it's a watershed moment in the history of the monarchy. And before you got here, Amber, I was saying this is the first time in 400 years that a member of the royal family has been arrested from Britain. The last time they arrested the guy and they cut off his head, and then England became a republic, sort of a republic for a while, under Oliver Cromwell. and a few other people, and then it went back to a monarch, and it's been a monarch, and it changed its form. It went from and it became monarchy again, but the monarch lost more power, and it was one of them things. It was. And ironically, though, the guy who took over after they got rid of the king 400 years ago was even a bigger arsehole than the king himself. So it just shows you, it's not good to change one tyrant for another. And I think that's what the men of the American Revolution were very careful to not do. Because I think that they'd learned from the history of the English Revolution of Cromwell and his failings, and why that didn't last, and why obviously the French Republic did last to a degree. So it's all very, very fascinating. But I am genuinely happy, and I think that the veil is lifting. That finally there's some accountability for these people's actions, and that maybe some of these people in high positions of power and influence will think twice before they commit such unnatural acts and crimes and whatever, and completely bring disgrace onto the nation and to the world and to themselves and to everything, and I hope that there's a lot of people out there whose names are in the Epstein files and who have turned blind eyes and who did engage in abuse. I hope they're scared. If not for legal repercussions, just for the embarrassment and the constant bombarding of questions and the social death that will happen as a result of all this. And it is just good to see some accountability finally in the world, and also that all the gaslighting that has been done to us, the people that have known and suspected that the elites in the world are all a bunch of sex offending freaks who get off and power and control games and are all sadistic and cruel and callous and just ruthless monsters. I think we all feel very vindicated, that we've been saying, this is what we've been saying, people who question authority, who challenge authority in many different guises and forms. We've been saying this forever, and finally all the, supposed normie people, or the people who drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak, are finally, spitting it out, and are finally seeing the truth, and the veil and illusion of what our reality is finally is breaking, and it's coming through, and the truth is coming through, and the truth will set you free. And that's my advice to everybody. The media can feed you this, they can feed you that, but ultimately only you can control and shape your own perception, your own mind, and you've got to analyze and look at things from your own perspective. You can't have things spoon-fed to you, and you can't trust anyone, even if they're claiming to be a legitimate source. You can't even trust me. You know what I mean? You've got to trust your own self, your own observations, and then you will find the truth. Whereas, the world has been shaped by people like Andrew, like Epstein, like all the others, who have shaped it so that our perceptions, us, the people, the common folk, as they would refer to us, the commoners, would we're totally blind and clueless as to what they're getting up to and what their agenda is really about. But they were doing it in plain sight, right in front of our noses. And the reason why people go, how could no one have said anything? How could no one have done anything? Because it's called illusion. That's what it is. It's called illusion. It's right in our faces, but we couldn't see it. And that's the same with Jimmy Savile, and we talked about him earlier. It's the same with all of these people. They don't do it in some out of the way place. They commit their crimes basically in public view to a degree, and media reports showed that basically tabloid journalists were getting shots of young girls and yeah, I do, yeah. That's the picture of him on the way out of the cells. He'd been in there for 11 hours, Amber, and you know how he says he doesn't sweat. I bet he was sweating in that cell. I bet he was sweating big time. But he was. Say Andrew endorsed snuff films. Yes, it did. He liked them. He liked them. He talked about it, and you know, you see that picture of that of him standing on top of that girl, that famous picture. It's been rumored that he'd been electro shocking her with a taser, and was standing over her, marveling at the pain that he was putting her through, and that, such a sadistic fuck, you know. And I really hope that he has to face these allegations as opposed to just the fucking feeding Epstein's secret financial info, because no one really cares about that. Let's be honest. I don't give a fuck about white collar crimes. I care about women and girls being abused. That's what I care about. Give a fuck about money. Money's nothing. Money's just paper at the end of the day. It doesn't mean anything to me anyway. It's just a means to an end. I like with this, you know. I don't want to make money from these cases. I don't want to, you know, any money I would make from YouTube, I'd put it right back into this. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be living up the high life off the back of all this. You know, it's not in me, and I don't want that either. But these people, you know, they Andrew, Fergie, you know, they need the money. They need the status. It's who they are. It defines them. It's all they've got. You know, they're so shallow as people. They don't have emotions like we do. So their status is literally all they have to define themselves as. And that's really sad. And then you get, he's like, oh, I want my money. That's perfect. You know, he was basically, in those leaked documents, you'd see emails where Andrew was basically calling Epstein his daddy, and Sarah Ferguson was saying, "Marry me now." And they were being that way to him. Obviously, Andrew, because of his access to prostitutes, and also the money aspect, and Sarah completely the money aspect. But it shows you that these supposed powerful people, once they're worried that their money is going to go away, or that they can't live up to expectation, their true colours come out. And when once that status and that protection is stripped away, they're just pathetic. They're pathetic, weak people. And they're to be viewed with nothing but contempt and disgust. And that's how I look at them, and that's how the public is generally looking at them, and I'm very happy about that. So thank you, Amber, and everyone who joined us this evening. It's been a great live. I've really enjoyed doing it, and I'm glad we didn't have any technical fuck ups either, like the other day. And I'm glad you could join us. And everyone, please make your way over to Amber's ATS's live in an hour, which will be updates about Nancy Guthrie. And I'm sure we're all very interested to hear about that and what's been going on. It's been such a crazy circus, you know. And obviously, I told you earlier, Amber, about Donna Bowling talking about the fact that the police department that's been investigating the whole thing is going to have a reality show made about them, and it's in the works. And that it's all kinds of Truman Show shit. So on that note, in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thank you, everybody.